Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope you are doing well today. Please confirm that you can hear me. Maybe reaction or type something. Mm.
Good evening, boss. Can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for that. Then let's do this. Let's just give like 2 more minutes and then we can start. February. Yeah, 1 more minute, I guess. 1 more minute, 1 more minute, 1 more minute. This year so far has been very interesting. Yeah, 2026 has been quite interesting. Yeah, all right. I think we can start right away. So welcome to. If you cannot hear me at any point, please do let me know. Just in case my voice is low or something, please let me know at any point. So let me share my screen. And we just
Let's down come.
Mr. Kennedy. All right, great. So let me go back. So like I mentioned, have I mentioned it? Not yet. If at any point you can't hear me, just let me know so we can just I can just repeat it at that point. February is such an interesting one so far. Or don't let's say February. We had our call January, but that wasn't like a market highlight. It was more around beginning, starting the year kind of thing. So for today, we are going to try as much as possible to compress the highlights. It won't be so long. I'm hoping we'll be able to have like some sort of like questions and then answer it, go back and forth that way. Um, and then see where we get to from there. So February so far, like I mentioned again, it won't just be February highlights we are trying to do. It will be mostly like, doing February and January and then compress it into one and then move from there. So like always, Bishop Weta Capital, the primary goal is to make tangible difference in the life of Africa, assisting everyone achieving long-term investment objective, right, which is the goal. All these things, the monthly meetings, this meeting, that meetings, that at the end of the thing, you can use all those lessons to improve the quality of your investment and goal and the strategy, right? So we just move forward. So these are things that we'll be talking about briefly. What happened? You can't see my screen, really. Let me check. Your presentation. You might want to check. Can anyone see my screen? Please confirm.
Yes, so we can see your screen.
Okay, Mr. Conley, you might want to check your device a bit. All right, cool. So let me go back. So these are things we'll be talking about this basically today. What happened in January, what happened in February, gainers of US stocks, losers of US stock and local market, the risk and opportunity in March, and then we'll go to question and answer. So it will be, I believe it will be very brief, but it will be super important to kind of listen to it. So what happened in January? Quite an interesting year. I say year, was quite an interesting month. Many things happened. First, in the Nigerian market had like a good, very good January. Let's say even very good year to date, January and February. But the Nigerian market has been so sweet, right? Let me put it that way for mostly. It was so sweet to the extent that the NGX itself has to bring out an alert to the general market and let them know that they've seen that things have been going on, like people have been investing and people are just being investing randomly. Not everybody is investing in something that makes sense. They just put their money. If anybody is saying buy this thing, they just buy it. Buy that one, they just buy it. So the market capitalization is more like the total amount or total liquidity in the market as of then or as of now. Previously, as of last year, the Nigerian market capitalization was trying to cross about 100 trillion. But this year, it went to about 120 trillion, kind of. So that's just the fear, like what's really driving it. First, it's just the aspect that everybody, nowadays, people have platform to be able to do more like a technological platform to be able to invest in the local stocks and also, of course, foreign investment that comes in. And there's a bit of confidence that is going on in the market. Now everybody's preaching the gospel of investing in stocks. So there's a lot just happening, a lot of participation, kind of, which is good to an extent. It's also bad in the essence that by the time people, a lot of people put their money into it, the major player that understand the market will take their money out of it. And by the time that reverse happens, people that are putting their money into it now, because they are not so sure about the market, they just want to quickly make their money. They might now begin to lose money at that point. And mostly when that kind of situation happens, people that understand the market, they just put their money into it because later on they know it will be bounced. But most people will take their money out of it. And because they are trying to take their money out of it, they will end up losing. Another thing that happens this January, kind of, that was really interesting, and I think might, if it doesn't get better, it will be stable, and that's Naira. We started the year with about 1,446 Naira per dollar. At a point in the end of January, it was about 1,386. I think it's still around 1,300. Projecting that the Naira, maybe by the end of the year, to be about 1,000 to $1. We are optimistic about the certain things that will happen. At the end, you don't know what can happen. So, but yeah, January was good for the US market, for the Nigerian market rather. For the US market, January was also good, but was not really the best. Basically, if anybody had invested in the US market in January, even if, for example, you gain about 8%, the reverse would have happened because the rate or dollar rate that you invested in it, when you convert it back now, you'll be losing. Typically look at it, let's say you invested in dollars to 1,446. Now the money is less than that because if you convert it back, it's around 1,386. So that way, even on the Naira dollar basis, the person is already losing money. And the US market hasn't been great, it hasn't done really well this year. Year to date. In January, it was about to move ahead, but yeah, a lot of things happen in the market. We have the war part of things I think we'll talk about. We had, what else happened? We had the inflation. are currently going on, and then we have the AI concern because people are beginning to move their money from the likes of Nvidia, the likes of Amazon, the likes of Microsoft, and the likes. Amazon even dropped like February. Amazon dropped massively. Microsoft dropped massively. Those big guys begin to drop because now people are beginning to take their money away from them and put their money into smaller companies and focus on AI. Another thing that happened is that people are not so much interested in these are AI companies. They really want to see the value. I know I've been mentioning about this since last year. That gradually where people will begin to invest and not necessarily people that talk about AI, but people that have products and they have outputs, let's put it that way. They are making money from AI implementation. All right, that's the company that people want to invest in now because at the end, it's not just the hype, it also has to be with the results. Last 2 years and last year has been those years where people just hear anything about AI, they invest in that company. But now they are more cautious and they really want something out of it. Number 4 that happened, I know January, I was talking about, was it December that I was talking about crude oil? How somehow the demand for crude oil, they will push it high. Yet to date, in January alone, crude oil went about 14%. But there were reasons with it. First, it was the geopolitical issue that they have with Iran, which is still ongoing. That is Israel and US fighting Iran, all those kind of things. The tension is still ongoing. It started January. The Venezuela leadership also created a bit of issue. There's Libya outage that also created issues. And so all these things come together and make it very difficult for the supply to meet up with the demand. So it's more like there are these different countries that ought to provide for the global demand, but these guys are in geopolitical tension with each other. Because of that, there's just a bit of supply reduction in supply. We are still looking at it. There's a event coming up March 1st of March, where OPEC generally, all right, that's the petroleum countries, will discuss how they'll be able to make the supply, the demand that is in oil, how they're able to create that supply for it. So in that scenario, when there's a lot of supply into the crude oil demand, then the price of oil will come down. But for now, it's still going up. Another thing that happened in January is gold, right? Gold went up about 13% in January, which was sweet. Another commodity that happened that really did quite some numbers in January was silver. Silver went up about 50% till the mid of January, then it began to drop. Then it dropped to about 11% to the end of January. So it's quite interesting. Excuse me. It's quite interesting for anybody that invests in silver at that point and sold. But it dropped to about 11%, and yeah, it's still manageable anyways. In February, something else happened. Maybe not different. Like I mentioned, year to date, January and February, the Nigerian market has really been doing well. So in February, the Nigerian market also gained more. It gained about 16.5% in February, making the total year to date for Nigerian market to be about 23.2%, even more. So what this means is that there are some companies in the Nigerian market that did over 100% within just 2 months. There are some that did 90%, 70%, 120%, etc. Just in 2 months. Also, if you move forward, there is NGS also concerned about, which I talk about. NGS will become concerned about the operation in the market. And this is really, really important. When NGS released this letter, let me put letter of concern to the general market, it's because there's a lot that is going on in the market. For example, even in the US market, you have a situation where there's a lot of everybody saying, oh, invest in stock. I made X amount from stock last year. I made Y amount from stock last year. What happened is everybody pushed into it. And because everybody is pushing into it, valuation of some certain company begin to go up, even regardless of the fundamental. What do I mean? A company that is producing a product and all the revenue that the company is making is about, let's say, 10 million naira in quote, right? And they tried to go on the IPO market and be on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in quotes. I'm just using it as a raw figure. And everybody push the money, the investment, they begin to invest in that company. What happens is that the market capitalization of that company can increase without necessarily increasing the fundamental of the company. It means that the revenue they are still making is still what they are making. Everybody just are optimistic about them and begin to invest in it. What then happens is that when people that understand the market fundamentals now get to that point and see that this business is, the way the business is going is not the right way, they take their money out of it. And every other person that is there begin to, the price of the stock then drop. Once the price of the stock drop, what happens is that people that owns it, they just begin to see negative. And then they quickly want to sell. You just want to sell. And all those selling that happens along the way, you just keep reducing the price of the stocks. And by the time most people want to sell, they're already in loss. Like they're all the prices or all the gains that they made is gone. Another thing that happened in February specifically is the demand of crude oil. And like I mentioned, disruption in the supply, I mentioned it earlier, and the same thing that happened. And if you look at it in total, January till now, crude oil has gone up about 16%, which is good, right? If you had invested, what is it? If you had invested like 100,000 naira in it, you are getting 60% on your 100,000, which is okay, right? And gold also did about some figures. Yet today, I think gold is up about 21%. So you see that it does make sense. The only problem with this commodity is that they are priced in dollar. So the more dollar begins to reduce, the more naira dollar equivalent begins to reduce, the lesser the impact of this figure begins to show you. So what do I mean? 21% in dollar is good. But by the time you now convert it back, let's say, for example, the naira to dollar increase or reduce, and it was 1,000, then it goes to 1,000. You know, that's a large percentage. So that percentage drop will also affect whatsoever it is that you are making in dollar. So in some sense, it's good invest in all these commodities, but you must also be cautious of the fact that if the naira get better, it will affect your investment. And if the naira is doing the opposite, it will also affect the investment. So you have to position yourself rightly on what to do in that aspect. Do you take 50% of your money and invest in local asset, or do you take 20%, let's say 20% in global assets and then 80% in Nigeria assets? You just have to think about it that way and see what will work best. Will I ignore what people like Otedola and Dangote have said? Of course not. Smart person have to know that they have figures and they know what they are doing in some extent. And because they have figures, you want to put yourself in the best situation. So what it means is that you split yourself into two, not split yourself, anyways. You split your investment into two. By the time you want to invest in all these that are dominated in dollar, you take maybe a percentage, let's say 30%. So what it means is that going forward, all your investment that you'll be doing on a monthly basis, you split it into two. Put a percentage of it in Nigeria market, put a percentage of it in US market. Why? Because even if your percentage in US market goes up, and then the dollar equivalent, the dollar naira rate get affected, right? Let's say it is 1.4, then it drop, it's 1.3 rather, and it dropped to 1.1, right? Even if your US investment goes really up, it will be affected based on that figure. So the reverse also is the case. So what you want to do is put 40% maybe in the US market and then 60% in the Nigerian market. Of course, you then begin to look at different asset classes. It's not only stock you have to put your money into in the Nigerian market. You have the mutual fund, you have the money market instruments, you have all those treasury bill, commercial paper, etc. All right, so let's move forward a bit. So talk about a bit around the gainers that we have here to date. I've mentioned different companies. I said different companies. I've mentioned the market, how the market has performed. But if you go deep down, let's just deep dive a bit. You see different companies this year that has done really well. Now, you could see all these companies that I put here. First, know that these companies are not the best stock in quotes this year so far. There is Qua, right, which is like a company in Nigeria company anyway, that deals with selling of auto parts and all those stuff. I think it did about 400% or 300% about in the Nigerian market. There's another one too, I think RT Briscoes or something like that. It did about 200% or 150% or something about that. So they are really companies that have done way more than all these guys that I'm showing. Even in the US market, there are companies that have done more than this company that I'm showing. But I'm trying to remove all those guys that are not solidified enough in quotes. Let me put it that way. And their business, the fundamentals, etc., are not solidified enough, and I don't want to push it into your face. So I just brought out few out of those that have done really well and just put it here. And number one this year in the Nigerian market is Seplat. He has done quite well. Presco too has done well. Basically, let's say oil and gas companies. This almost like 3 companies there I quite like oil and gas. Dangote too has been doing quite well. Maybe not yet to what we want. By next month, March, when earnings come out, we'll be able to ascertain which direction Dangote is going. And the refinery will be out, I think. He mentioned that in 5 months' time. So give or take, let's say July, August, we should be able to invest in Dangote refinery kind of. In the Nigerian in the US market too, there are some quite that have done really well. The last one, ignore it. It should be Dell. Dell has done about 17.64%. Taiwan Semiconductor has done 25%. Lam Research Corporation has done about 36%, and then that other one have done about 114. You already know, I mentioned it earlier, gold has done about 21%, silver has done about 32%, crude oil has done about 16%. So these are people that have done quite well. So what this means in the Nigerian market, the likes of oil, the likes of banks, First Bank too, I think, First Bank Holdings, First Co Holdings basically has done well, I believe. GT has gone up from less than 100 that it finished last year to about maybe 119 or 120 thereabout this year. So it has done pretty much. It's just that one has to be careful, especially all the companies that have done like over 100%. You want to be careful about the fundamental of the companies. Like I mentioned again, you will see that the company that I brought out in the Nigerian market are companies that a bit of it, they kind of have solidification to an extent. It's not just company that comes and then they move away in the next few weeks or few days thereabout. And if you look at the losers that we have this year, the losers in the US market, you remember this Ella Lakes last year. Ella Lakes last year was like a big banger, right? For the Nigerian market, everybody was just investing in Ella Lake. So this year so far, Ella Lake hasn't been doing so well, but it's one thing to notice. And the other companies also, basically insurance, they've not been doing well. In the US market, funny enough, US market is a bit tricky in the sense that even good companies are not doing well. Adobe has not been doing well for the past, since last year, even this year. And basically why Adobe hasn't been doing well is the fact that there are some expectation about the company that the company is not doing. People expect that the company should be able to go into full AI, but they are trying to just figure out how AI will work in the creative space, to be honest, and then be able to know what to do into it. So last year it suffered really well, and this year it has also been suffering, let's put it that way. But we are optimistic. For me personally, I'm optimistic about Adobe. Adobe has been a company that has been here for the longest, I believe, out of these guys. And over the years, they have been very innovative, bring out different stuffs. But the times are changing. So let's see how they are going to cope with the new system that we have as of today. And we have paper holding has going to be doing well. We have Microsoft. And if you really want to invest in something at this point, I believe Microsoft is currently in a good state where one can invest in it. If you are thinking about long term, Microsoft is really in a place where you can invest in it as of now, because now it's undervalued. There are a lot of expectation around it that people are expecting, so which is why it is where it is. But if it can bring out new innovation and begin to challenge the likes of Google, because when you talk about AIs of today, there are maybe like 3 different companies or 4 different companies that you can talk about when you talk about AIs of today. You talk about the NVIDIA, you talk about the Google, you talk about TSCM, Taiwan Semiconductor, and then you talk about OpenAI. So out of these 4, OpenAI is not public company, so you cannot invest in it. But those 3 are things that have been moving the market so far. So Microsoft has been suffering in code. It might be a good time to take a look at it. So what are the risks and opportunities that I see in the March? Like I said, we quickly do it and then we go to the questions. What are the opportunities I see in the March? First, there is the recapitalization that everybody has been talking about. Gradually, by next month, it will come to an end. If they do not extend it again anyways. So banking, we are seeing opportunity where some bank we have to merge together to become one bank. So you could have like a merger kind of things in that situation. But we are looking towards it. We are seeing how that will play out. Another thing that could happen is in the oil space, right? I've said it, I said it last year that there's something about oil, right, that it cannot just stay low for so long. But one had to be careful also. Why I said you have to be careful is that not only OPEC does the petroleum exploration. Hey, what's the full meaning again? Petroleum exploring countries or something like that. Anyways, or exploration countries or something like that. Anyways, so not just those companies or those countries, sorry, not just those countries are supplying oil. The non-OPEC countries now are supplying oil. So what it means is that there's a lot of supply of oil in the world as of today that covers the demand. And when you have a supply that covers the demand, what it means is that the price of that commodity begins to go down, sorry. But when you have the reverse case where there's a tightening supply and there's a lot of demand, the price of that particular commodity goes up. That's what happened. And that's what is happening at this moment, is because Israel, US, and Iran war, let's put it that way, right? They've caused like issue with geopolitical supply of oil, and other companies too, other countries, why am I saying company? Other countries too are beginning to have that kind of state political tension, and because of that, the supply that is necessary for to meet the demand is not available at the moment. So what OPEC is trying to do is that by 1st of March, they will have a meeting and see how they can create that supply so that to meet up with the demand. But if they cannot come up with a solution, that means the price of oil will keep on at the top that it is today. But if they are able to get a solution where to be able to pop in oil back to the world in cold, that means the price of oil will reduce. So we have 2 conditions, which is the risk and the opportunity. So there is the risk of this coming down, and there is the opportunity of this going up, right? Another thing is, of course, the US market. There's a lot of inflation. There's also the fact that probably Donald Trump is going to assign new Fed chairman, and maybe he might change the algorithm of things a bit, or the market might change their momentum. But the AI companies, people are beginning to move from Magnificent 7, that's the NVIDIA, the Microsoft, the Amazon, and the likes, and then moved to like a smaller company. Amazon also has suffered, like in February, Amazon really suffered. It moved from like $230 per share to less than $200 per share. So those are the big companies, and they begin to have issues. The other part that I think could also be interesting is gold, right? There are quite some level of opportunity in gold and silver at the moment, to be honest. I remember I talked about silver, it was in January, I talked about silver as someone needs to be careful about it, which was true. And we see how it played out. It went up and then dropped drastically, just because there are a lot of things. But as of now, silver is in that range that does make sense if one want to invest in it. It's in a good range. Gold is also in a good range. As long as there is geopolitical tension, as long as there is war, Iran decides to fight USA or to fight Israel, or someone decides to fight the other one, Venezuela decides to have issue. This, as long as there is geopolitical tension, and people will want to put their money in somewhere that is safe. And that's how gold begins to get its own demand, right? So we see a system where this year gold will increase, provided that there is geopolitical tension. So if everybody decide that they don't want to fight each other, then the price of gold will reduce. Or they don't want to cause any trouble to each other, then the price of gold will reduce. But the world as we have it, people just decide that they have to fight each other anyways, or do one thing or the other, just show a level of power. So as long as that is in the system, then gold and silver will be a good thing to look into. And yeah, another thing that I think affected gold towards the end of February was people were selling it. And not because, they were not selling it because it's a bad investment. They were selling because they have lost a lot of money. I think about $1 trillion was lost in just the AI structure. Like people that invested in AI and the likes, and then the price of, when I mean AI company, and then the price of all those companies dropped drastically. So they lost a lot. So most of them already put their money in gold. They just sold part of it to be able to cater for the losses in it. But yeah, we hope this coming March, things begin to do better. The likes of gold, the likes of silver, the US market, the Nigerian market begin to do well, and then we see better return in the coming year. And yeah, that's my summary that I have for you guys today. And let's see if we have any question at this point or anything you want to share with us. Let's discuss. Anybody that have question for me? Or it could be on what was shared today, and it could be general. Have question for me? Oh, February seems to be chilled week. Oh, okay, sorry. I wanted to say February seems to be like a chilled, no question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, hi, good evening. Thank you so much. This has really been very, very, very helpful, especially in expanding my knowledge personally about investment. Okay, so I
Yeah,
have two.
cool.
The first
Okay.
one regarding a certain investment that I made. I know that most of the times people say real estate is like, usually a very good place to look at when trying to make investments, right? So in trying to read or understand how real estate skyrockets, like I made
Yeah,
an investment, and this investment has been there for let's say four years now, be 5 years. Five, I
yeah,
think 4 years. But the growth has not been anything substantial. And because of, you also look at the places where this real estate are located, places like maybe Lagos, Abuja, and this particular investment I made is in Lagos, but it doesn't look like there's anything progressive. Like Like I'm trying to understand, how do you read the market and know when, okay, this does not look like a good thing to, especially for real estate, this does not look like a good place to venture into. Like, to
Mm,
read it ahead and know that, this does not look like a good place to venture into, or this looks like
mm,
something that will be substantial in few years to come. I know, I'm saying, I feel like 4 years is too small to judge, but at the same time, I still feel like there should be not something very heavy, but there should be some substantial growth that you would be able to measure with, like, okay, this is progressing. I don't know if I should ask my second question, or you go ahead to answer this first.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer this first. I have a question before I
Sure.
answer the question. So my question would be, how did you value the place that you know is the growth is not substantial?
Okay, so it's like already built apartments, so like apartment
Or
that you so I feel like if you're shortletting apartments in Lagos, people are always having need of those kind of apartment, maybe for movies, maybe for events or something like that. So that's like what I use to see that this would be a good opportunity or something like that. I don't know if you understand.
Mm, yeah. So what I'm trying to get, so it's a property in Lagos in a location. Um, and how you are evaluating it is based on the shortlet, or I'm just trying to understand that scope. I don't know if it is a location you want to mention, then we can look at it. But if it's not a location you want to mention, that's fine. But I'm just trying to get, like, it's a property. Are you evaluating it based on the profit that it's bringing based on the shortlet, or you're evaluating the property itself in that location? I don't
Okay.
know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. I don't even know where
Okay.
it is, honestly. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know. I just know that it's in Lagos. I don't know where exactly it is, but I'm used to
Okay.
the fact that it's because of how Lagos life has been sold to us. So I feel like
Mm,
it's, I know it's not in any place that is not a central place in Lagos, but I don't know where it is. I'm not even going to lie and say I know where it is. I don't know where it is, honestly. So that
okay.
can.
So let me put it this way, because basically how people used to sell Lagos, Lagos has different sections. Let's put it that way. First, there are places where you make your investment in quote, that will give you much more return than other places. So what it means is that, for example, if it's like central, like VI, or Ikoyi or somewhere like that, or you don't know where you're investing, or it's somewhere like, let's say, in on the mainland, it's like Ikeja, Sulere, Bagada, or places like that. For example, for shortlet, people look first into the environment. If the environment is good, if the environment is comfortable for them to be able to take shortlets in that places. So if you go and invest in somewhere like Epe, right, in Lagos, it's still in Lagos. I mean, basically, nobody will go to a place to go and say they want to do short-lived, unless maybe you are going to a refinery, maybe Dangote refinery, and you need a place to stay. And most of those places, we already cater for it. I mean, most of those companies, we already cater for all those apartment, etc. So the location of this really matter. If it's in central Lagos, you are going to make money. That is certain. And if it's not just shortlet, if it's, for example, it's like building or something, or a property, so to say, what it means is that there will definitely have been valuation. And why I asked if you had any valuation on this so far is because, or how you measure valuation. If it's a property, most times people just use other properties around and how people are selling them. They use it as a gauge to be able to think that, okay, what has this been, or what is the pricing of this? A typical example, even if you use Epe as an example, I know like 4 years ago, Epe was selling, I'm just using Epe as an example because like it's in quotes, maybe like the cheapest in Lagos as of today, in quotes. So if you use Epe as an example, for sometimes back, Epe was selling for maybe less than 1 million. But for most people that want to buy it now, maybe it's now selling for 2 million, 3 million or more. So what it means is that within that range, just because it's Lagos and people are thinking like, oh, in the next 5 years, next 10 years, things going to happen in this location and it's going to make more sense. So as far as Lagos is concerned, the closer it is to the most interesting part of Lagos, the more you make more money out of it. But if it's very far from the interesting part of Lagos, you might not necessarily make a lot of money from it. But in terms of valuation of property, one thing is certain, Lagos will increase, like it has always been increasing. In the past 4 years, I can assure you if its property in Lagos would have increased, it's just how you evaluate it that now really matters. But the other issue with real estate is that real estate makes sense when you have people that want to buy it. And that's the part that most people don't talk about. Until you have someone that is willing to buy it, real estate doesn't make sense. Not like it does not make sense. It does make sense, but you have to have someone that is willing to purchase it. You have seen people that have bought property in one place for a very long time, but there's nobody that is willing to purchase it until when developers now come to that area and you have someone that is willing to buy it or maybe do something on it and then make it more profitable to yourself. So to answer your question, first you have to ask the person, if you know the person, ask the person to give you more information about the location of the property. Once you have the location of the property, the next thing you want to do is to try to ask, you could do it yourself, ask around or type it or even maybe charge it or something, the valuation of different houses or different things around there. Once you have idea about that, you'll be able to know, okay, what your current property, what it's worth. And then if it's like shortlet or something that has been used for, what you want to do is to get the location, know the price. So you could search, for example, in Lagos, if you want to rent a shortlet or something, you could search online and then to show you people that are willing to rent that kind of thing within that ecosystem. You could see, oh, this guy is renting his own at let's say 100,000 naira per night. This other person is renting his own at 50,000 naira per night. So it could give you a range of the pricing of your own or what you can set it up. So you can set your own up as 60,000 in between per night. Maybe it's just the pricing of the shortlet so far that has not been accurate. So you could take a look at that. But first, just know where it is located. Then you can know what next to do. I don't know if my answer is helpful.
Yes, it is. I think this happened when I did not have so much information about investment. So gradually, this platform is helping me ask the right questions, and so I think I'm going to ask that to get more clarity. Okay, so just to follow that part, my second question, is it that 4 years is too small to make a judgment, or there's like a certain number of years you should get to before I begin to make a judgment as to the growth of my investments?
No, it's not too small. 4 years is not too small. When you talk about real estate, 4 years is not too small, but 4 years is not too much.
Okay.
Like 4 years. Okay, let me put it this way. There are some locations that within 2 years, you will see the difference. Like it will be so obvious. And there are some locations that it might take 10 years before development gets to that place.
Okay.
So let me use a typical example. If someone has a property in give or take Lagos, right, and the person has the property in Bagada, let me use Bagada just a general example. There's probability that development will get to that place faster than someone else that has the property in Ekpe. But everybody, if you ask anybody, they will tell you that it's still in Lagos. But it's not necessarily in Lagos. Or let's use the Bejuleki and the Ekpe. There's possibility that development will get to Bejuleki faster than you get to Ekpe. So it might take like the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years Full development will come to Bejuleki, and it might take like 7 years, 8 years for full development to come to Ekpe. But that doesn't mean that the price of those commodities will not increase. It might not just increase so drastic, like maybe from 1 million to like 100 million or something like that. It might not increase that drastic in 4 years, but you see something that have happened, especially when it's Lagos, the price of things would have moved. But I mentioned something that the real benefit of real estate is on the end of the buyer, right? Because you cannot sell something that you don't have someone that wants to buy it. I don't know if you get. So that's the issue with physical property. If you don't have someone that wants to buy it, you cannot sell it. But if you have someone that is willing to buy it, then it does make sense. It gives you power to be able to negotiate better, right? But what Lagos gives is that once it's in a good environment, you see different persons that want to do one thing or the other. They want to buy it, they want to start their own housing or all those things. Because of that, you see people that are willing to buy from you. But if your property is somewhere very far down, before you can see someone that is willing to buy, it might take some while. That also delay your buying and selling process. But the summary of what I'm saying is that 4 years is not too small to be able to see a bit of the fruits of your property, but it still now depends on the region to determine how much growth you will see in terms of your profit. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
All right, good.
Okay, let me ask my second.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, please.
Okay, so my second question. So I also started using bamboo to invest, right? And honestly, I think one of the good things of investment is that you also know how to read your investment or read when or just read it, just understand. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I just know that I see that, oh, I put this amount, oh, I'm seeing this. Maybe I check in 2 weeks, or sometimes it's even like months after I check. Like, how do we read to know that this is time up here, or this is progressing, especially with an app like Bamboo? I don't know if there are places that can point us to that, or if you can give maybe a brief explanation and then point me to somewhere that can better, because I know I've gone to watch YouTube videos concerning that, but it still does not give a very encompassing explanation about that. So I don't know if you get my question. Thank you.
I'm not sure. So let me
Okay.
see so to know if
Okay.
I got your question. So
Okay.
are you saying that you made an investment, you want to see where your investment is at the moment? Maybe you made money on it or not?
Okay, yes, because okay, giving a typical example, that was I think sometime last year, I tried to do like just a little unit for Vega Paint, and then for the US stock I saw Tesla, and
Yeah.
then in picking or in buying a certain amount of stock in Tesla, I
Yeah.
see that when I went back, I saw this like red arrow pointing down. But I don't understand. I know I'm seeing my money there, but I don't understand whether it's going now, I be something have happened, or there's like added something. I don't just know. But then for Beggar Pains, I see that it's going. I even tried to get more this month. That sorry, January they just right. And I saw that it was way higher than what I had bought it the first time. So I had to pay more. Not that particular amount of units I wanted to buy, I had to pay
Yeah.
more than the amount. So I don't understand. That's just the word I can understand, and a way to read it and all of that.
Oh, okay. So what happened is on app like Bamboo, right? If you go to any stocks or thereabout and click on it, they'll show you the price of that stock at that moment. So if you have purchased the stock, there's a section on that stock part that will show you ownership. So if you click on it, you'll be able to see how much you bought, how much you have made, or how much you have lost so far. You'll be able to see it and be able to see what your current amount is at the moment. So from there, you can decide you want to sell or you want to buy more. right? Now, how they calculate that particular, like how much you have made is that the price that you bought it. So let's say, for example, you bought that stock at 100 naira, and now in the market, the price of the stock is now 120. So the change between those things is where your profit come in. So for that one that you talked about that you bought then at 100, and then you're now seeing that they are selling it at 120. So what you just need to do, go to your ownership section. So on that particular stock, you see about, you see ownership, you see financials or something. So click on the ownership, you'll be able to see the breakdown of the amount you have made so far. So if you now decide that you want to buy more, they will use the price of that 120 and the price of 100 to calculate your average cost. So then maybe your average cost will now be 110, and then you'll still be able to see the amount that you have made so far. So at that point, even if it's Tesla and you bought it at $100 per share, and there is now $90 per share, if you go to your ownership on that particular stock, you'll be able to see how much you've lost or how much you've gained. You get, so that's how those guys work. Basically, the stock market is based on demand and not supply, so to say, but it's based on bid and ask. So what it means is that there is a particular, okay, let me use an example. What can I use? Let me use this charger. So there is this particular charger, right? And for me, I want to buy this charger, and I'm willing to buy this charger for $100, right? Mr. Temidayo can come about and say he's willing to buy this for 120, right? And someone else can say he's willing to buy this for 150. So you see that we are increasing the price of this particular commodity, right? So the first time, the price of this commodity can be $100. The next time, when you look at it, because everybody is willing to pay more money, the price of this commodity can become 150. So for me, that bought it at $100, now everybody have raised the price of this commodity to 150. I can decide that I'm selling my own at 150 and I take my money out of it. The reverse can happen. I can decide that I'm buying this commodity for $100, 100 naira, sorry about that, 100 naira. And let's say someone like Mr. Benson just come around and say he's not buying this for $100. He is bidding for this to be 80 naira, right? Someone else can come again and say he is bidding for 90 naira. And because of that, because there's a lot of push onto it, it come down and the price of this is become 80 naira, right? But I bought my own for 100 naira. I can either wait and hold my 100 naira and say, no, I believe the valuation of this particular thing is 100 naira, and wait, and I will not sell it. And let everybody go about their own thing. Someone now later, after two weeks or 2 months, and decide that, no, truly, the price of this should be 120, right? And then everybody begins to bid, and before you know it, they raise the price to the 120. Now I see that, okay, now they've made it 120, but I believe it's still 100 naira, so I'm selling it and making my money out of it. So that's how the stock market works, basically. It's just everybody coming and put their input on what they think the value of things will be. So you can either raise it very high or we can either reduce it, right? There's no one person that is equally right. You can only suggest that this is valuation you think. Every other person that come into the market now decide if it will go up or it will come down. I don't know if it makes sense. So the summary of what I'm saying is that you can go to your ownership on the app and then you see if you have made money or you have lost money. But how the market works, that's basically what I explained. It's just perception about, oh, I've confused you. Am I confused?
Yes, I was going to say, but I don't want, because I don't want us to take so much time. Maybe I'll just be in your DM, and if you can point, because I'm not going to lie. You lost me when you said ownership, something, but thank you so much.
Yeah, I can make a screenshot or something. You can let me know. I will point you where it is on your app. It's something very easy to see on the app.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other question? Anybody have question? Oh, it's a chilled February, I guess. Well, I was about to say the chilled February. All right, go ahead, Mr. DME. Please don't tell me about anything. Please, guys, just kidding. Yeah,
I should not tell you about what.
Don't worry, go ahead. Now you
I
tell me
did. I
about
didn't even get.
SpaceX.
I did not hear what you said.
You should not talk about SpaceX, but go ahead, Mr. Tesla,
Okay,
Mr. Elon
okay,
Musk.
okay, okay. I know the SpaceX has not listed. Yes, now we are patiently waiting for it now. And I voted refinery too. But my own is, did you see what happened to these Zikis like this? Because it's
What?
crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Zikis, and then okay, I think I have just a couple of questions. Zikis, like, what's your
Okay.
take on that Zikis issue? Then
Mm.
what do you see about US healthcare system? Because I don't know. I'm thinking it's looking a
Healthcare
bit,
system.
yes, it's looking
Mm.
a bit attractive now because it has actually gone down, like really down since that last year. So, and
Mm.
then I do have a third question, but I've kind of forgot. If I remember, I'll just message you or I'll just ask it. Thank you.
Mm. All right. This question, a serious question. First, let me start with the healthcare. Right. First, I'm not in the healthcare sector. So my opinion in the healthcare is very generic, like super generic. So what it means is that most of the company that I own, I don't think I have any healthcare company as an investment, basically. Not because I don't believe that they are doing something magical. Um, it's just the fact that one thing about investment is you have to find where you understand the fundamentals of the operation. Right. For example, at the point I was trying to understudy some of these healthcare companies, to see, but it was just a bit complicated for me, especially the fact that today you can say this company can say they have a breakthrough in this particular ABCD, and the next month they will tell you that they don't have a gain or something happened, it was complicated or thereabout. Then another company from somewhere else will tell you that they made a breakthrough in another thing. So you just feel like it's more like a game of technology or a game of expertise or something like that. It doesn't seem like it's a well-structured game that played out. For example, United Health, you see it goes up at a point and then before again it just come down. So what I would say is that if you are someone that is in the health space and you really understand the fundamental of it, I think it has really dropped for some time, like you mentioned. But you want to be careful because there's a way in the investment market where drop does not mean reduction in value or reduction in the fundamentals. Drop would also mean that people just feel like this is overvalued and then they want to reduce their position in it. So one has to be careful to be able to understand those two polars, right? So what I will advise is if you are in the airspace, just like yourself, you are in the airspace, you understand more about the fundamentals. When you are checking out the company, you want to check out the company that are really strong and solid in terms of their earnings and in terms of their operation, right? Not just one company that randomly discovered that they have a cure for maybe obesity or something like that. And because of that, they are beginning to sell it out. Another thing can happen, and then they say the component of all those things, the chemical structure that they use in that thing is affecting people and it's causing another thing. That could wipe up the gain of that particular company in the next whatsoever years. So you just want to be careful to understand the operations in that sector before you go into it. I don't know if what I said makes sense to you, but my own summary is that I have a generic take about it, is that I don't do healthcare. I just feel like they are too stressful for me. But if you are someone that truly understands the basic and fundamental of it, then you want to go into it because you have much more edge than myself that I don't think I have that solid understanding of the operation in the airspace. I don't know if my answer at any point makes sense.
Yeah,
All right.
does make sense.
Yeah. So do you want to give us more context about it? I'm not sure I followed the whole scenario that happened with them. But if you want to give us content about it, maybe you could help.
Yeah, well,
For your first question.
okay, yeah, that last year, I also noticed what happened to United Health. So, but actually, I did not invest in United Health. I could
Oh,
have
okay.
when it dropped, but at that time I did not have the cash because I was already invested in another one that did more or less
Okay.
like 100% that last year. But now
Yeah.
it has gone back now to where I initially bought it. But the only
I
good thing
can
for me was
imagine.
I sold when it did 100%. So now, in
Okay,
fact,
makes sense. That makes sense.
now, because when I bought it was around $33 per share, then it went to
Mhm.
66. Now it's at
Okay,
14, 15.
cool.
It's at $14, $15 now per share. So
Is
that's just
it Teller Dime?
no IMS and us.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know them.
So that's just. But I just wanted to know maybe now because now with the way most of them have come down now, I'm thinking it's looking a bit attractive somehow.
Okay. Well, I don't know attractiveness in the space. Like you mentioned, to be honest, and that's what I explained earlier before you talked about it. Like one thing about the space is there are many factors that can make it go up, and there are many factors that can make it come down. A little, I don't want to say little, but just formation issue that maybe there's a drug that they produce and something happened to that drug after the release date, and then if affected like some kind of person, it can make the price of the stock to go really down. And if they made a breakthrough in maybe one healthcare thing or the other, it can also project the stock. And it has nothing to do with their revenue, right? So you want to be really someone that understands the fundamentals of healthcare and you understand the operations. You understand, oh, this particular product is coming from this. You know the source of different things, then you can play in it. It's just like someone that wants to play in the technological space. If you don't understand how technology works, maybe product development, the different phases, the marketing of it, the revenue, and after making the revenue, different part of it where right, cost of goods, all of different sector, capital expenditure, where is it going to, how is their research and development, all those all structure that comes with the technological factors. If you don't understand this, you just be here and there without understanding the core of it. So first, figure out what your true strength, in terms of not even what your true strength, is figure out what you have experience in and start your investment from there. Then you can move on afterwards. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it
Especially you
makes
that you're in the ed space, you have more understanding of all these things and then you can do it. Me, I'll just look at them. I'll be following most of them. I'll just look at them. IMS and R, Teledyne, United Health, this one, that one. I've been following them for a while, but just keep reading about them. Maybe over time I will understand, or maybe I will not. I don't know.
Thank you,
Helpful.
thank you
All
very
right,
much.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Any other question, guys? I think we spent quite a lot of time. But anybody have any question that you want to ask before we end it?
Sorry, I have one last question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Concerning the Nigerian market now, because I think I also invested around December last year. I got him back December. I was looking at it in November. I got in December, and then this January. So, but it has done it's obvious that it has actually done well so far. But now I'm seeing that there's kind of like a pullback now going on.
You are seeing it, or you think so?
I'm seeing it too. There's pullback.
Oh, you are seeing it. Okay. Wait. You are seeing it in terms of like you are seeing it futuristic, or you are seeing it in terms of it's happening already in the market.
It's happening now.
Okay, right. I'm curious to know how you see it happening.
Or I may be wrong, but I don't know. I'm just looking. I'm just looking at it. I'm just because I don't know, but
Yeah, sure.
I'm just sensing that it's already going on like this now. So I'm thinking that probably maybe is this the best time to just hold on and wait for I don't know, for most of them to like cool off, then go back in again,
Mm.
or we can still keep on scooping up now.
Um, hmm. Mhm. Okay, let me put it this way. Um, there will be reversal. One thing about the market is always reversal. They call it correction, right? Nothing in the market goes on forever. So there will be correction at every instances. So you want to put yourself in that place where even if there's correction, you know you are buying a very solid company. That after the correction, they will go back. One thing that usually happens to companies that does not have fundamental is that after correction, you will not hear them again, right? So let's say, for example, they are trading about 10 naira per share when everybody has pushed them up. After correction, they might be trading about 1 naira per share, and they will not go up again, like in maybe 5 years' time or 10 years' time. But one thing about solid companies is that even after the correction, they will head back to where they started from. Do you get? So as at this point is where you buy very solid companies that have good foundation. You don't just want to buy companies that are just here and there without anything. You want to ensure the company that you are buying are companies that are very solid. Maybe the oil like that, the solid company like MTN, solid company like Dangote, and the likes, right? Because they are very solid. Even if anything happens, they will go back again, the likes. But if you want to then buy all these other companies, you have to be certain that you are able to take the risk. If anything happens and then they come down, you are able to take the risk. But at the moment in the Nigerian market, the most the safe advice would be buy solid companies. Um, Mr. Adeyemi? Good? Yeah, I believe so. Mr. Temidaya, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Maybe our
good
last person
evening.
again.
Um,
Good
yeah, so
evening.
yeah, I think my question is just based on what you just said last. Yeah, so I do more of crypto to be fair. So in crypto, we know we have like 2 years of pump and 2 years of dump, then everything like that. Like it goes on. Is there like the same cycle also in stock, or it is just maybe news or whatever that is driving it? Like in crypto, it is
Yeah,
like
there
a
is.
general this thing. You do 2 years pump, then the next
Okay.
2 years, there will be like everything goes down. Then the next 2 years again, it pumps again. Everybody start having faith and stuff like that.
Okay.
So is there anything like that in stock?
Yeah, there is circles in stock, but it has no definition. Right? There are circles in stocks where you have some certain year that you have a very good bull run, and then some years you have a very bad year. So there are those circles in stocks, but they are not specific in terms of time. But in terms of return, what we used to measure is about 25% down or 25% up. So if everything comes down 25%, you know you're already in the range of the bear market. And if everything goes up about 25%, you know you're already in the range of the bull market. But in terms of the number of years that you stay in each market, let's say average, let's say about 5 years in for the bull market and about 2 years for the bear market. For example,
Thank you.
so far we have spent since 2023 thereabout, I think so. That's when this whole bear market, bull market started. So we spent like 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, we spent like 4 years. Give or take, next year might be the end of the bull market. Then we start looking into bear market, right? Or next year can even be the start of the bear market. So averagely, people think about it in 5 years for the bull market, and then think about it like 2 years thereabout for the bear market. But there's no specific time, to be honest. Anything can change.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I guess that's all for everyone. Thank you so much. And we see in March. There are some things we are planning for March or April. Um, we are trying to invite someone to join us. I believe it's very interesting, but finger crossed. March or April, the person should be able to join us and have this session with us. I believe you will enjoy it. Till then, stay safe and invest safely. Please stay safe and invest safely. And have a lovely weekend. Bye, guys.